chat. Okay, let's begin. I'm very, very excited about today's practice because, as many of you may have heard by now, especially if you read my newsletter, we lost a great being over the last week. Well, a couple of great beings. One is Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Vietnamese Buddhist master, teacher, and activist. And the other one was Meatloaf. Yeah. But today we're going to honor Thich Nhat Hanh because he's been a huge influence in my life. And my guess is that he has also in some way influenced yours, at least for many of you. He was just such a beautiful, gentle soul and made some of the very complex teachings of Buddhism very accessible and available to all people. And he died on Saturday at the age of 95. And I was very blessed over the course of several years to have the opportunity to practice with him in person on a couple of retreats. And I'm going to put you on mute as I'll wait to put you on mute because I do have a question. I had the opportunity to practice with him on retreat, and whenever you go to his monasteries or practice centers, they had a practice of using what they called the bell of mindfulness. And I've got a little bell here, like the one that they used. And they would ring the bell as an opportunity for everyone to pause and take 3 breaths. 3 breaths. To bring ourselves back to the present moment, because most of the time, whatever we're doing, our minds are wandering in all different directions, like a jumping monkey swinging from branch to branch. And the sound of the bell acted as a stimulus for us to stop and ask ourselves, okay, where am I right now? And to use those 3 mindful breaths as a portal back into the present moment. And I just want to ask you, for those of you at home, whether you can hear that. Can you hear that bell ringing? All right, so that when I ring the bell today in our practice, that will be for you that opportunity to stop whatever posture you're in, whatever you're doing, wherever your mind is going, to bring your attention back just to your breath for 3 breaths. Now, they don't have to be 3 pranayama type breaths, just anyway, long, slow breaths where you use the breath as a way to anchor, as an anchor for your attention. And the other thing that they did in using this practice is with the ringing of the bell and also at various times of the day, they would offer these little verses called gathas. And they're like little poems that you say while you're doing different things, while you're eating, while you're washing your hands, while you're walking. And those little verses would just invite the mind to come back to a sense of presence and a sense of gratitude for just all of the aspects of being alive. So that's what I'd like to invite us to practice today, to bring that into our yoga today. And I'd like to begin just by practicing that the first gatha is a very simple one that I'd like to invite you to say internally whenever I ring the bell, and at various times I'm going to ring the bell. When they did the bell ringing when I was on retreat, they often did it while we were eating. And if we were in the fork was in midair just about to go into your mouth, the idea is you were supposed to kind of freeze. Not stiff freeze, but just stop wherever you were and take those 3 breaths. So often, the bell would ring and somebody would be like taking the 3 breaths before you put the fork in the mouth. It was kind of humorous that way. So find your yogic seat. Lengthen up through your spine. Roll the shoulders back and down. I will lovingly put you on mute. Okay. And just bring your attention to your breath just as it's moving in and out. Just let the breath be an opportunity for you to land here. In and out through the nose. And the very simple gatha, or verse used whenever you hear the sound of the bell, is listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. Listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. And saying that internally, we take 3 deep breaths. So let's try it together. Oh, and one other thing. When the bell is rung, there's first just a little tap of the bell with the mallet here, and that's called waking up the bell. And they never say we strike the bell. They say we invite the bell to sound. So it's a little gentler, kinder way of languaging it. Taking those 3 breaths, listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. And when you're ready, I invite you to mindfully come to standing in mountain pose on your mat. And turn your palms open in that gesture of receptivity. The first gatha that was recommended for people to use waking up in the morning was this one. Waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live fully in each moment and to look at all beings with the eyes of compassion. Let your eyes open with a soft gaze and slowly let the breath lift the arms, syncing up your breathing and your movement and your attention. You know how to do this, bending the knees, rounding the upper back, chin to chest on the exhale, expanding wide and open on the inhale, long and lifted in extended mountain at the top of the breath. So just find those spinal waves and that lifting and expanding, deepening each time you exhale. See if you can get a little deeper into the squat. Breathing in and out through the nose, letting the breath and the awareness and the movement sync up. Perhaps keeping in mind that spirit of waking up and vowing to live this day with mindfulness and compassion for all beings. Starting with yourself. Each time you expand and lengthen up, letting the lower ribs lift away from the pelvis so you create lots of space and length in the torso. And as you exhale, drawing the navel in to completely release all the breath. And on the next exhale, let the hands come to rest on the thighs. Keep that gentle squat and take it into your cat-cow spinal undulations. Enjoying your breathing. enjoying the movement. Letting that ujjayi sound brush the back of the throat. Letting that be our soundtrack this morning as you practice. Finding your own rhythm and pace, not necessarily imitating me. And on the next inhale, arms rise, and I'll mirror you here. Your right fingers wrap around your left wrist and take it into a nice crescent moon shape or half moon. Unshrug your left shoulder if you can. Press the left hip out. Expand and widen the space between the ribs on the left side. Inhale up to center, release the hands, take another sun breath, exhale. And inhale, lift up, we'll take that same stretch, other side. And just go nice and slow so you can actually really milk that side stretch. Inhale, center, exhale, release. Taking another round each side at your own pace with slow enough breath that you can really enjoy the stretch. Our opening practice, just celebrating the 6 movements of the spine. We did cat and cow, now we do side bends. I'm going to invite you to do one more round. This time, if you want to take it to a little more challenging practice, you can, as you grab your left wrist, take your left foot behind your right and come onto the outer edge. Draw it as far over to the right as you can and come onto the outer edge of your left foot. And to make this a little more juicy and challenging, try to bend the right leg, the standing knee, a little bit more. Breathe right into that rib cage. The whole left side of the body just lights up with your breath and your stretch. And then release the hands. Come back to standing. Feel the difference. Oh, yeah. And we'll take it on the other side. You can either do this simpler stretch, or you can take that right foot as far over to the left as you can behind the left leg. Bend the left knee and get a little more deeply into that crescent moon shape. Send your breath along the whole side of your right side of your body, that whole connecting chain of fascia, connective tissue. Celebrate that stretch and release. And roll the shoulders one way. See what you can let roll off your shoulders this morning. If you want to take those shoulder rolls bigger, you can even do the backstroke if that feels good. Just any movement to kind of release and open through the shoulders and the chest. You can try going forward, maybe do the crawl or freestyle, or both shoulders together, whatever feels good. And then take a moment to pause in mountain. With those 3 mindful breaths. Interlacing your fingers behind you. Spread the heart. And as you may know, you want to get just as much space with the strap that you need to try to get it a little closer together so you have a little more, and then lift, and draw those shoulder blades toward one another. So as you know, whenever we do this pose, we pause for a moment and breathe right out, in and out of the heart center. And I often offer some words about opening the heart, and Thich Nhat Hanh had a beautiful one. He says, "May the heart's garden of awakening bloom with hundreds of flowers." Just take that image in. May the heart's garden of awakening blossom with hundreds of flowers. With each breath, see if you can feel those flowers blossoming. Visualize those flowers blossoming. Big breath in. And exhale, fold over the legs in yoga mudra, lifting the hands high. Squeezing the scapulae, the shoulder blades, toward the center of the spine, releasing the head. Lift the clasped hands up and overhead toward the front of your space, and then release the hands. Let the arms hang down. Let the spine release. Find any loose wiggles and waggles of the head, the shoulders, the spine, the arms. As you fold over the legs, stay nice and close between belly and thighs. Weight even in both feet. If you want to take a little bit of a pedaling, you can do that, but keep your feet flat. In other words, you're going to straighten one leg and then the other, bending the opposite knee just a little to light up and wake up the back of each leg. Or you can just stay with weight even and both legs straight, just whatever enjoyable way helps you to lengthen, stretch out your hamstrings. And then we'll take a nice half lift, slide the fingertips up the shins, just to below the knees, flat back. Uddiyana Bandha activates as the navel lifts in and up. Unshrug the shoulders, draw them toward the hips. Flat back, look down, and exhale, fold. Take a couple of more of those at your own pace. Letting the in-breath invite length from root to crown, letting the exhale soften and fold and release. Each time, see if you can telescope that spine out of the pelvic bowl a little further. And release. And then in this fold here, heel toe, the feet to as wide as your mat. Let the outer edges of the feet line up with the edges of your mat. Toes point straight ahead. You're going to have fists or fingertips underneath your shoulders, starting with the left hand under the shoulder. Bend the left knee, lift the right hand to the sky. Again, I'm your mirror here. So you're going to grow long, half lift with the spine, long from root to crown, long from lower hand to upper hand, stacking right shoulder on top of left. Exhale, release. This time bend the right knee, left leg stays straight, take a twist to the other side. And notice if your head is hanging down and see if you can reach your head forward toward the front of your space. So you're inviting length in the spine as you take this twist. Exhale, release. Take it to the other side again, twisting right, growing long and wide, and then if you want to take it into a bind, back of your right hand to left hip, or slip your pinky in the hip crease and hold on to your left thigh, inviting a little bit more deeper twist and rolling open. Look up at the sky if you can, otherwise at the horizon, and release. And take that sequence on the other side, bending right knee, left leg straight, grow long and wide. So see if you can press into my hand here. So you're going to lengthen out. So not the head is, yeah. And release. Just take your bind if you haven't taken your bind. And when you're ready to release, take it into a wide leg forward fold here. Feet kind of wide as your mat. Pivot on the heels so the toes turn out 45 degrees. Bend the knees and roll up. Stack one vertebra on top of another. Coming to standing, bring the hands to the hips and find some swirly motion here as you're stirring the cauldron with your hips, with your pelvis, with your low back. Keeping the shoulders steady so it's all pelvic movement here, rolling around. Make the circles as big as you can. Enjoy. Perhaps bringing to mind an area of your life where you need to invite in a little bit more fluidity and gracefulness. Try circling the other way. Knowing that every movement that we practice has a psycho-spiritual benefit. So where do you need to be a little bit more in the flow? A little bit more liquidity in your life. We all have areas where we get kind of rigid. I know I do. So just bringing some fluidity and gracefulness and swirliness into my physical body can actually create those internal shifts, begins that process. And coming back to center, we'll take a little empty coat sleeve, so you know how to do that. Just keep the knees a little bouncy. Start with just letting the torso swing side to side. The arms come along for the ride. Breathing in and out through the nose to start. And then you can deepen the swinging, lifting opposite heel. Give yourself enough momentum, so perhaps even one arm will swing over the shoulder. Give yourself a little pat on the back. You're just using the momentum of your twisting to let those arms swing. You can deepen this prana flow by inhaling center through the nose, exhaling through the mouth from the belly with a ha, ha, ha. Make some noise. Ha, 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 ha. Get a little bounce in your step. Ha, 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 ha. And slowly let that ha breath just soften into a nice sigh. As you begin to let the body come back into stillness a little bit at a time, feel all that aliveness, all that tingling as those rivers of prana stream through you. And bringing the feet, heel, toe, the feet to hip width apart. We're going to take a little balance flow. So I'm going to begin with a crane flow. You might want to be on a firm surface here, practicing balance, whatever you need, especially if you've got a squishy mat. Wings open, and we're going to flow side to side. Inhale, lift one knee. Take the whole exhale to shift your weight and cross your wings. Whole inhale to spread your wings and glide on the wind. And when we take it into that shifting and exhale, you're going to round the upper back and bring the chin to the chest and draw the navel in. Opening your wings, keeping the wings soft and graceful, so there's a softness in the shoulders and in the elbows and in the wrists. You're going to cross one way with your wrists, and then the other way when you open up on the other side. Shifting side to side, syncing up breath, awareness, and movement. Focusing your drishti point, your internal gaze, a spot on the floor a few feet in front of you. Letting the muscles around the jaw and the eyes and the cheekbones be soft, the brow. Soft, sweeping ujjayi breath. And we can bring it into a crossover. In the next exhale, cross the lifted leg over, just touch your toes down. Again, crossing your wings, lift up. And so every other exhale you'll cross. Inhale, lift. Exhale, cross. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hip width. And if you can slow this down enough with your breath, see if you can take it, for those of you who want to take the challenge to take it into a full eagle. You'll need to go nice and slow. Inhale, open. Exhale, come right into your full expression of eagle. Even if you need to just have your foot touching, the tippy toes touching the floor. Open up, crane. Exhale, eagle. So if you slow down your breath, that gives you the time to come into the eagle. Now it's also fine to just cross and touch and just approximate here. So do one more each side, lifting and crossing, slowing down the breath enough to come into some approximation of eagle before we take it into a holding pattern. So next time you lift the leg that you started with, we'll just feel ourselves gliding on the breeze. If you need to dip your toe in the water as the crane, you can do that. Otherwise, take flight and glide. Feel the wind beneath your wings. Knee stays hip height, foot just dangles right underneath, so you don't want to draw the foot back toward the body. And stay, see if there's any scrunchasana going on, and see if you can soften through the shoulders, soften your gaze, and when you're ready, take it into your expression of eagle. Some of you might find it useful to take a block and take the block to the outside of the standing leg. Remember, eagle, both legs are bent, thighs are nice and tight. Get down into it, thumbs point toward you. You don't have to wrap the wrists if that's difficult. It's okay, just have backs of the hands to one another. And then opening your wings back into crane. And exhale. I'm going to take it on the other side. First, just opening up in your crane, feeling that wind of grace carrying you, wherever it's carrying you. Maybe you'll need to move your block before coming into eagle pose. So find your expression of eagle. If you want to wrap the foot around the back of the standing leg, you'll need to get really down deep into that eagle squat. And try lifting the elbows so you get that juicy stretch in the upper back and shoulders and upper arms. Oh yeah. Ujjayi breath here. And then unfurling your wings, opening up, coming back to crane, and come in for a graceful landing. And pause and feel what's alive in you. All right, eyes open with a soft gaze. And facing the front of your mat, we'll take it into a vinyasa flow. If you need to have blocks available, have them where you can grab them, because we may use them for part of our sequence. All right, open heart, hands begin in prayer. Inhale, lift the arms, reach through the right, reach through the left, and take a little standing back bend, heart, hands, gaze to the sky. Exhale, slow bow to the earth. Nice and close fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold again, hands frame the feet, step back with right foot and lower right knee down. So you're going to come into your right low lunge. Anyone here need a knee pad? You got one? Yeah. Do you need one, Pat?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. So knee over ankle, slide the right foot back, unshrug the shoulders, and lengthen through your spine. As the inner thighs draw together, if it's comfortable for you, you can come up into your Anjaneyasana, kneeling lunge with that spirit of warrior. You can have your arms wide open or together like a sword, or maybe even goddess arms if you'd like. Just find that abdominal lift to stabilize the spine. And once again, interlacing fingers behind you, opening wide through the heart. Let the heart's garden of awakening bloom with hundreds of flowers. Big inhale. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, step back into your plank pose. And just take a moment to get your plank steady and comfortable here. Notice if your butt is up in the air or sagging down, and see if you can use your core strength to correct for that. Press out through the heels. Big inhale and exhale, lower down, knees, chest, and chin. Butt up in the air, toes curled under, hands under the shoulders. Inhale, draw the heart forward, draw the shoulders back, plant the feet, all 10 toes down. Get as much lift as you can without pressing into your hands. Let your hands just be there to steady yourself. And then holding that lift, see if you can transition from cobra into snake pose. Clasping hands or keeping them separate. Lift, 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 reach, reach, reach. Keep the toes down to start. Look forward, draw the heart forward, draw the hands back. If you want to take this one step deeper into locust, reach out through the toes and peel the legs off, all the way up to the thighs. Keep the legs straight and active. Here's where you might want to do that little Buddha smile with the corners of the mouth lifting. Ujjayi breath. Nice and strong. And then floating the thighs, knees, feet down. Bring the hands under the shoulders. Just release the back of the neck by bringing the forehead down, maybe taking a little wiggle side to side with the hips. And if it feels good to take cobra again, either low cobra or a full cobra, if that's part of your yoga repertoire, you can keep those elbows bent, keep that pelvis rooted down, and take a little more expansion through the front body. Big inhale. Exhale, press up through a cat stretch. Take a nice opposite movement of the spine here. Maybe up on fingertips, cat stretch. And melt it back to child first before we come into down dog, just to stretch the back of the torso a little more, shoulders and upper back. Big inhale, exhale, release, softening into this pose of prostration. Maybe there's something you need to offer out. And then rising up into table, transition into your downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here in your down dog. Maybe you want to take your dog for a little slow sauntering walk. Maybe for you, you like that a little more powerful exploration of inhaling to plank, exhaling down dog. So do what serves you in your down dog. Warm up, stretching the backs of the legs, hamstrings, calves, Achilles tendon. Heart melts down low. Low belly presses toward the tops of the thighs, tailbone tilts up and back, navel lifts in and up toward the heart. And then from here, find any way for you to transition that right foot between the hands. Bringing the right foot forward, you're in your low lunge here, left knee back. Unshrug the shoulders, lengthen through the spine, up on fingertips or blocks. So you create some space in that upper back. Inner thighs toward the midline. Take your expression of the warrior, kneeling warrior pose. Notice if there's scrunching going on the shoulders. See if you can release there. Spreading the heart wide open. Reaching up through the fingertips. Exhale. Clasp the hands and let that garden of the heart blossom. Thousands of flowers. Big breath in as you lift the hands and reach them back behind you. Exhale, release, frame that right foot. Step up into a half forward bend, long, flat back. Exhale, fold, full deep fold. Bend the knees and rising sun lifts you up. Palms come together. Exhale down to the heart. Take a deep breath in. And release. We'll start with left foot stepping back this time. Inhale, rising sun, and standing back bend, facing the sky. Exhale, bow to the earth. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Spread your sit bones a little bit here. See if you can fan them open like those peacock feathers. Exhale, fold, framing the feet. Step back, left foot. And lower the left knee down. We're going to take it into a runner stretch, drawing the hips back. Now you can either stay here in your runner stretch, maybe point and flex your foot to get that little more activity in the calf muscle, or you can take it into a flow, inhaling lunge, exhaling, bowing down in your runner stretch, keeping your spine long and back flat rather than going into a rounded spine. Breathing into that, let every exploration just be a celebration of being embodied. Next time you come into your lunge, or next time you take a big inhale, come into your lunge, reach up again into your kneeling warrior. And here's the opportunity to take it into a twist. You can either bring your hands together, come into prayer twist, upper left arm, outside right knee, or you can take it forearm to thigh and right hand presses into the sacrum, fingers down. So whatever supports you in a nice twist here. If you want to take it deeper, curl your back toes under, lift up into high lunge twist and look up at the sky. Keep those inner thighs active toward the midline. Release, frame that right foot, step back to plank, and flow it through your sequence of knees, chest, chin on the exhale, your expression of cobra on the inhale, baby cobra or full cobra. We won't need to do snake or locust again, just getting that nice, lovely back bend. Exhale, transitioning to your down dog. Another deep breath in downward facing dog. And then stepping through with the left foot, low lunge, float the right knee down, unshrug the shoulders and lengthen through the spine. Firm up your left knee over your ankle to start, and then draw the hips back into your runner stretch. Make sure you bring your hands back too, so that you're not reaching out. If you keep your hands where they were originally, you're going to be creating tension in your upper back and shoulders. So find either that slow pulse, just go for the juice here in the back of the leg. Yeah. Hands can be on fingertips or blocks, or take it into a lunge on the inhale, fold into runners on the exhale. Breathe and enjoy. One of the things that Thich Nhat Hanh always used to say was, enjoy your breathing. We should enjoy our breathing. We think of breathing as just something that happens, but imagine what can be transformed in our lives if we actually really enjoyed and delighted in each breath that we took. You're taking it anyway, you might as well enjoy it. All right, the next time you come into that lunge, reach the hands to the sky, activate the core to get that stabilizing lift, and then take it into whatever twist you did on the other side. Prayer twist or forearm to thigh, and other hand back to press into the sacrum. If you're coming into that prayer twist, really press into the hands so you get a little bit of leverage, trying to draw the thumbs as close to line up with the heart as possible. But lots of space between the heart and the thumbs. Maybe curling back toes under, lifting up into a powerful high lunge twist. Yeah. And release when you're ready. And step up, half lift, inhale, exhale, fold. Let it all go. Bending the knees, arms reach and rise. Palms come together. And exhale, draw back down to the heart. Big inhale, enjoying your breathing, letting go. Next inhale, sun breath, rising sun. Reach through right, reach through left, arch back, say hello to the sun, say hello to the earth with your forward bend. Half lift inhale to grow a little longer this time. Exhale, fold. Stepping back, right foot, high lunge this time, be on the ball of the foot. Both toes on both feet pointing straight ahead. Inner thighs active, balance practice to rise up into your balancing warrior one. Steady and comfortable. Feel this as your first, it's not the first balance challenge. We did our eagle pose, so it's another balance challenge. Bring the hands back behind you if you feel steady and comfortable. Another opportunity to let those flowers blossom in that garden of awakening. If you want to play with it a little more, you can arch back and look up, keeping the legs and pelvis keeping you steady. And then releasing once again, hands to the sky. Big breath in, lift and reach, root down through the pelvis, reach up through the fingers, and exhale. Float the hands down into a high lunge to take it into a twist here, a revolved side angle twist. Pressing down into your right palm, letting left hand reach high, turning your heart toward the left. Beautiful. Exhale, release, and frame that front foot. Step back into your plank pose. Flow it through at your own pace. Now, some of you might be ready to do chaturanga to up dog. Up dog involves straight arms and lifting legs and pelvis all the way off of the mat. Just palms and tops of the feet press, shoulders draw back, heart draws forward. Meeting in down dog. Take a couple of breaths. I tell you what, in our down dog, let's take those 3 mindful breaths. Letting the sound of the bell bring you back to your true home. Whatever your pose you're in, can you be home? Just being fully present with your breath and with the sensations is your home. We're going to step through with the right foot. If you'd like to take 3-legged dog, either lifting toes high and or kicking butt, kicking asana, rotating stacking the hips, one knee lifts to the sky, heel comes to opposite buttock, and then swiveling the hips to step through, and rising up into your balancing warrior one. Your headlights shine straight ahead. Your tailbone roots down like a taproot that grounds you. You're going to feel that nice stretch in the front of the left thigh and left hip flexor, the psoas area. And see if you can find a place where you can relax as well as where you need to strengthen. Letting that garden of the heart open, blossom in awakening. Big breath in through the heart, maybe playing with arching back. Releasing when you're ready. First start with releasing the hands to the sky again. Find that polarity between earth and sky. And then make your transition into your revolved side angle twist. Long and wide, big breath. Exhale, release, step up, half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees, arms reach and rise. Palms together. And return to the heart. One more round, left side begins. Inhale, arch back. Exhale, deep dive. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Stepping back, left foot. We're going to spin the left heel inward 45 degrees so we can do some side lunge postures or side standing postures to open the hips. So heel lines up with instep. Bring your forearm to your thigh on the right side and take it into your extended side angle. So try to bring the body into one plane. Okay, so you're going to roll this hip open. Yes. Press into my hand right there with your knee. Yeah. Good. And let the hand rise up and then over. You're going to find a diagonal line. So if it's available, palm down, fingers, yes. So you're going to find that long line from the outer edge of your left foot to your fingertips. If you want to take a bind here, you can take it into bind, whatever practice of bind you like to do. This is usually the most accessible one for people. And then releasing bind, reaching long and away, wheel open to warrior two. You can straighten the front leg for a moment to take a breath if you need to. If your leg is feeling fatigued, coming into your expression of warrior two, nice and wide open in the heart. And turning the right palm up. I'm not mirroring you here. Reach up to the sky. This might be as far as you go, or you can take it into arching back a little bit more, open more deeply through that side stretch in your dancing warrior. Exhale, back through warrior two. We're going to cartwheel the arms down, back into a lunge. Here's where you might want to grab your block and place your hands in the corners of the block. Now, some of you may want to just stay in the lunge here, maybe practicing lifting and just finding a long line, a horizontal line through the back body, and then maybe taking a rest in lunge, maybe even knee down. If you want to take it to a little more challenge, you're going to come into, from that horizontal line, come into a balancing warrior 3, airplane arms, arms by side, or for a little more challenge, you're going to take it into that temple pose. Standing leg has a little micro bend in it, so you don't want to lock the knee. It's fine to keep your hands down, framing the corners of the block, and just work on getting that core strength and lift. You want the knee and the top of the foot to point straight down. So notice if your leg is rotating out or hip is lifting. And those of you who want to take it into a half moon, if you want to take it there, that's an optional way to play here with a little more balance. Absolutely optional. And when you're ready to release, coming back through warrior 3, float that leg down. Okay. So you're back into your lunge. You're going to step back into your plank, and in your own way, in your own time, flow it through your expression of the connecting vinyasa. For some of you, that might be, oh, I need a rest in child's pose, which is what some people call warrior 4. So do what you need. Maybe a couple of breaths in down dog, or going through the whole Megillah. And to step through, to take the sequence on the other side with your left leg. If you did three-legged dog on the right side, you can play with it here. If you kicked butt, you can do that here. Just keep active and pressing down and forward with the hands. And step through gracefully. Spin the right heel inward 45 degrees. Line up heel with arch. And take it into your elegant, long stretch of Parshva. Uttita Parshva Konasana. If your stance is too short, your butt's going to be sticking up. So get nice and long so you have an unbroken diagonal line. Let your core hold this up. Beautiful. Reach long and away. Take it into a bind if you played with that on the other side. Looking up at the sky if you can. And then lengthening out and wheeling up to warrior 2. Take a little release for a moment of that front leg if you need to. Wide open in the heart, bring your fingertips together so you've got that concentrated sword-like energy. Focusing your gaze over that middle finger, left hand. And then turn the palm up. Take it into your expression of dancing warrior. Some of you like to bind in dancing warrior too. Or bring the back of the hand to the base of the skull for a little more experiment there. And exhale, cartwheel the arms down through warrior 2, come into your high lunge. You can bring your hands to the corners of the block and just play with. If you find this challenging, you don't have to hold it forever as long as I do. You can just come into that long line and then release back into your lunge and just play with using the activation of the core and the muscles in the leg to find that power in your warrior 3. And you can also, at your own pace, open it up into a balancing half moon, using the block under the shoulder as a, yeah, beautiful, Susan. Yeah, you just want to get a little more lift. Yeah, power up that leg, press into my hand right there. Yeah, if you press out through the heel, you get that power. Beautiful, Pat. It's fine to stay holding on to the block. Just make sure your hips are level. Drop this hip just a little. Yeah. All right, release, float that leg down. All right. And step up with the left foot. Take a nice half lift. Exhale, fold. Now, drop the hips halfway. Bring the hands together. Sit down in your chair and breathe. Make sure everybody can hear. Yeah. Enjoy your breathing. And then release after 3 breaths. Open wide. Gather in, return to center. And just notice what's alive in you. Okay. How do you feel now? That was invigorating. I'm going to invite you to come down onto your knees. And every yoga practice, after we really do that really mindful warming up of the spine, we have the opportunity, after we're really warmed up, to do a deep back bend. Sometimes we do our deep back bends belly down, the bow pose. So sometimes we do it like this. Sometimes we do our deep back bend lying on our back, doing either bridge or wheel. The wheel is a little deeper expression of that. But we can also do another deep back bend is the camel pose. Now, if camel doesn't feel appropriate for you, you can always lie on your back and do your bridge pose, or lie on your belly and do maybe even a gentler practice such as Sphinx. You all know that one. So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide what back bend is appropriate for you today. But I will give you a little coaching about the camel pose, because the camel and the rabbit pose go together and they're a nice sequence. So you can use your blocks beside you if you find that you don't have a lot of flexibility in your back bend, and just let your hands rest on the blocks beside you. In your camel pose, you want to keep the hips over the knees so that your thighs are straight up and down. What you don't want to do, especially if you're coming into reaching back for your heels, you don't want to do this. You see how I've leaned back? That gives a great workout for the quads, but it doesn't give you the back bend you're looking for. So keep your pelvis anchored over your knees, and you want to lift out of the pelvic bowl. Let's start with just placing the hands beside the sacrum. Press into the low back, and point your elbows back behind you. What that does is that, so you're going to draw the elbows as close together as they'll go to spread the heart. Maybe this will just be enough, getting that lift of the lower ribs and the opening of the heart, and maybe a little bit of arching back without moving the pelvis, just moving the spine into a little extension. Your chin can stay level only if it's comfortable for your neck. Would you let the head go back? That's optional, and that gives it a full spinal extension and opening of the throat. So that would be one exploration. If you use the blocks, you'd start that way, and then you could bring one hand and then the other to the block and explore your camel pose like this, and coming out, one hand and the other supports the low back, come up to center, let the head come up last. I'm just going to demonstrate a couple more options here. I know many of you have done camel with me before. If your body is open to it and you feel flexible enough, you can curl your toes under and swing one arm back behind you and the other arm back behind you to your heels or Achilles tendon. Feel the heart expand, feel the shoulder blades come together, and take this into a nice wide open heart. You can take the big breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth, stick out your tongue. To clear out the throat chakra area. One hand to the other frames the low back or sacrum area, and come back up, head comes up last. If that felt easy peasy for you, the full expression of camel is the tops of the feet flat, reaching back for your heels. That's going to make it a little deeper back bend. The same thing applies there. Come out really gently. So, supporting yourself. So take your expression of camel. It's fine just to do this for a few times and releasing. Just this and releasing. So it's a deep back bend, and so really listen and honor. Yeah, good. Other way that you can do this is to take the block, one block behind you, in between your calves. and press into the block. That gets the chest open a little bit more. Some people find that they need to make a little more height underneath the block. So using 2 blocks like so. So take a moment to explore and play with your camel pose. You don't have to hold it for very long, just a couple of breaths coming in and out of your expression of camel. So what I would suggest, okay, yeah, that's good. For you, Pat, I would suggest do it like this. So that you have a little more height. It'll be a little easier to reach.
Okay.
Yeah, you can still get the nice back. Thank you. And when you feel complete with your camel, very slowly come into your child's pose, but in this expression of child, bring your inner thighs and knees together so your belly rests on your thighs. Forehead down. If you need to stack your hands, you can do that. And then bring your hands alongside your body so that your backs of your hands rest on the mat beside your feet. So fingers pointing back to the back end of your mat. From here, I'm going to invite you to just lift your hips a little so you can bring your hands over the backs of your ankles and grab your ankles with the palms facing the inside of that, right where that pointy bone is, the inside of the ankle. So the backs of the hands, the knuckles are going to face one another. You're going to grab your ankles with your hands and then lift the hips and roll onto the crown of the head. You might want to tuck your nose a little closer toward your knees. Come onto the crown of the head, pull and lift. So you're going to create a dynamic tension here where you're trying to straighten the arms and lift the hips to lift the pelvis, the hips over the knees, so thighs come straight up and down. You're going to feel that nice stretch in the low back, and the whole back body finds an opening in this flexion, this stretch of flexion. You might be drawing some more space between the vertebrae as you do this. Lift and pull, lift and pull. If it feels good, you can massage the cranium by rocking back and forth a little bit, coming in and out of it just a little. Breathe and enjoy this deep flexion as a complement to the deep extension of the rabbit, of the camel pose. So this is called rabbit. And when you're ready to release, release the hands, float the hips back down, and just take a few breaths in child's pose. And when you're ready, I invite you to transition onto your back. Maybe you want to do that through a moment of table and just taking a little cat-cow unkinking. And come onto your back, and I'm going to invite you to come into whatever inversion feels comfortable for you for a few moments, a minute or so of being upside down. That might be legs up in the air. That might be legs on top of with the sacrum on top of your block. It could be full plow and shoulder stand sequence. If you want to use the wall to do shoulder stand and plow like we did last time, you can do that. So if you want to do legs up the wall, we can do that and use that as your entry point to shoulder stand. If you're using the legs up the wall and you want to come into shoulder stand that way, you would just bend the knees and press your feet into the wall. Lift the hips, support, bring your hands underneath, palms face toward you like that, and just tuck the elbows toward you. Yeah. And you can just hang out there for a few breaths. So that's a wonderful modified shoulder stand. And if and when you're ready, you can try one or both legs. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I think you went too fast. Take it slow. Yeah. Taking this opportunity, being upside down, whatever your expression of upside down is, to enjoy your breathing. Begin to transition out of your inversion. Yeah, take your time. Feel your body reconnecting with the earth. And find for a moment a prana response. So for you that might be hugging your knees into your chest, maybe rocking side to side in Apanasana. Maybe you want to take happy baby with the lower legs straight up and down, if that feels good. For some of you who want to do a little bit more of a traditional complement to if you've done shoulder stand and plow, you might want to take your fish pose, which is another wonderful throat opener. If that's comfortable for you and part of your repertoire, you can take that. Or maybe you just want to circle the hips. I'd like to do a hip opener for a moment so that we can get the hips and the glutes, give them some love. So let's come to a place where you can come into a supine pigeon, figure 4. So you're on your back. Just take a moment just to stir the hips for a moment. Hip circles, nice and wide, which is actually knee circles, which stirs the hip joint, lubricates that joint capsule. You can stir the knees one way, stir the knees the other way, sending your breath there. So always remembering to send your breath with your attention to any place where you're noticing tightness or restriction. Once again, finding an opportunity to invite fluidity and gracefulness into your life through the movement, exploration. And then when you're ready, coming into figure 4, supine pigeon. So turn your right knee out to the side. Find figure 4 legs, so you're above your ankle is going to meet the left thigh. You're going to draw the left thigh in, thread your right hand through the space between your thighs. You can either clasp your hands behind your left thigh or around your left shin. You want to make sure that your right foot is all the way past your left thigh, so you want to be above the ankle where you make contact. Then you can use leverage with your right elbow and your right inner thigh to press that thigh away until you feel the juiciness of that hip opening and glute stretch. Same time you're drawing the left thigh in. You want to let the back of the head and the backs of the shoulders soften into the mat. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. Go for the juice. Find the place where you notice the sensation is strong and you want to go, oh yeah, and breathe into that. Thich Nhat Hanh always reminds us, enjoy our breathing. We should enjoy our breathing. So enjoy your breathing and enjoy the sensations of being alive that come with every posture and every stretch. And when you're ready, let yourself transition to the other side of your figure four, remembering that your foot wants to be past your thigh, not pressing on the ankle. You might notice one side being a lot more open and able to rotate open than the other. Just notice that without judgment. And lovingly send your breath to wherever it's needed for healing, for rejuvenation, for increased prana, aliveness. And then from here, I invite you to find any closing twist that feels good for you. You're all experienced yoga practitioners, so everybody's got their favorite twist. So a reclining twist is a good idea, but you can do a seated twist if you prefer. Twists are a nice way to wind down and bring calm to the nervous system. Yes, that you would twist that way. If you're going to do a seated twist, like some of the folks here in the studio are doing, you want to wrap the opposite arm around the top leg. Other arm comes around back behind you. Always lift through the spine before coming into the twist. So it's a lift on the inhale, a deepening and twist on the exhale. When you're ready, transition, whatever twist that you're doing, transition to the other side, gently, mindfully. And if you're doing a seated twist, make sure that both sit bones are anchored. Sometimes it helps to have a fold of a blanket underneath if you find that it's not happening for you that way. Leading with the heart and letting the head follow, which is a great practice to take off of the mat into our lives. And when you're ready to release your twist on this side, gently unwind and let your body melt right into a comfortable Shavasana for final relaxation. If anyone needs a bolster who's here, I can set you up with the bolster. If anyone needs a blankie, I can tuck you in, because we do cool down quite a bit. So, anyone need anything else? You want a blanket? Is this your blanket? I love that it's purple. Okay. Okay. Is that comfy? Okay. Are you comfortable, Pat? Okay. And as you let go of all of the efforting that you've engaged in today's practice, I invite you to just let your body sink into a complete letting go. Being mindful of your breath. Allow the breath to invite you again with each inhale and each exhale, again and again into the present moment. And I invite you to receive these words from Thich Nhat Hanh. Our true home is in the present moment. To live in the present moment is a miracle. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth in the present moment. To appreciate the peace and beauty that are available now. Peace is all around us, in the world, and in nature, and within us. It is in our bodies and our spirits. Once we learn to touch this peace, we will be healed and transformed. It is not a matter of faith. It is a matter of practice. We need only to find ways to bring our body and mind back to the present moment so we can touch what is refreshing, healing, and wondrous. begin to let the breath deepen. Bring some movement back into your body. Some wiggling of fingers and toes. Circling of ankles and wrists. And any other movement that brings you back into the present moment for you. Find a way to transition onto your side. Maybe you want to take a big stretch first, grow long like you're just waking up, and then bring the arms down alongside you, hug your knees in, and roll over onto one side into fetal position. And slowly, I invite you to find your way into your yoga asana or seated posture for a meditation practice. I think today we'll go right into meditation, a beautiful meditation practiced in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. So anyone here need a meditation cushion, zafu, or you're going to use your folded blanket? Okay. If you find that there is space between one of your knees and the floor, whether you're in half lotus or just easy pose, if one knee is sticking up, then you want to take some kind of a support underneath there. Like you can use a little cushion or rolled up. I've got something perfect for you, Pat, that actually can be one of these teardrop cushions, because you can have a thin side or the thick side. So see if you can just place it so that there's nothing that is that you need to use effort to keep in place, so that you're really firmly supported. Your shoulders stacked over your hips. When we find the yoga asana for meditation, remember the original meaning of the word asana is seat. You want to take those two pointy bones, the ASIS bones, as is bones, and just draw them slightly forward, and that gives a little lift and lengthening in the low back. Not too much, not so that you're arching, but just so that you're minimizing any slouching and rounding of the spine. So if I turn sideways, a lot of people find that they're like this. So you want to lift up, lengthen, and keep that long, elegant spine with shoulders back and down, heart spread wide. Back of the neck is long as well, so notice if you're lifting the chin or letting it drop down. You want a nice, unbroken line through the back of the spine. And imagine the crown of the head lifting skyward. And once you find that long, lifted spine and open heart, see if there's a place in your body where you can soften around it, so that there's minimal efforting. You want to find that sweet spot where there's a sense of aliveness and expansion and openness without there being excess efforting. There is a place in your body, in your center of gravity, where that can happen for you. So see if you can just adjust to find that ideal spot. Sometimes it takes a little practice with cushions. You might need to even let your hips be a little bit higher so you don't have any discomfort in the hips or legs. And let the eyes gently close. So as I mentioned, Thich Nhat Hanh directed people in their mindfulness practice with these little verses called gathas. I'm going to guide you through a seated meditation using a few simple phrases which we will use in concert with the breath to keep our awareness centered in the here and now. We don't need to control the breath. This is not a pranayama practice. This is a meditation. So just let the breath find its natural rhythm and depth in you. Notice where you sense the breath, whether it's in the nose and at the nostrils, or whether it's in the chest or in the belly. And the first gatha, first set of phrases, is breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. And you want to breathe in and out through the nose with your lips very gently closed. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. This is the very first meditation practice that the Buddha taught, awareness of breathing. And you can shorten it to just breathing in, breathing out. If the mind begins to wander like that jumping monkey, just gently bring it back to the breath and to the phrase, breathing in, breathing out. The next gatha. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Now you don't have to do anything to calm your body. Just a mindful, slow breath in is physiologically calming for the body. And the smile doesn't need to be a big forced grin. It's just a very gentle lift in the edges of the mouth, very subtle. What I call a Buddha smile. Doing this creates measurable changes in the brain chemistry, releasing neuropeptides and serotonin and endorphins that all contribute to a positive mood and reduce stress. So breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. You can shorten that to simply calming as you breathe in and smiling as you exhale. And the last gatha that we will practice with today. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. So as you breathe in, dwelling in the present moment, breathing out, I know this is a wonderful moment. You can simply shorten that to present moment, wonderful moment. Feel free to keep that little Buddha smile engaged. Present moment, wonderful moment. Releasing the gatha in your mind now. I invite you to bring your palms together in front of the heart in prayer position. And we'll close with a beautiful benediction, if you will, written by Thich Nhat Hanh. May the sound of this bell penetrate deeply into the cosmos, in even the darkest spots. May living beings hear it clearly, so their suffering will cease. Understanding arise in their hearts, and they can transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. I bow to the Buddha in each and every one of you. Taking that little bow together, bowing to each one of you. Another beautiful phrase that Thich Nhat Hanh's practitioners used to say is, I bow to you, a Buddha to be. Thank you, everyone, for being adventurous, coming along on this little bit different focus of a practice, but it felt right for me to honor Thich Nhat Hanh and all his beautiful teachings. And we'll see you next week. Anyone have any?